What's up, noobs? Welcome to Noob's Perspective. Today I'm going to show you how to make a dungeon in Minecraft using command blocks and some commands. So first thing I need to do is pick a location for the dungeon. So dungeon could really be anything. You could make it an obstacle course, you could make a maze. My brother made a maze. I'll show you his maze over on the server here. In a different video, we'll go over that. But this one is just going to be a giant room that is bedrock, but hollow on the inside, so no one can break the blocks. And then on the inside, it's just going to be kind of a battle royale. I'll just have a bunch of different mobs spawn in waves. And if you beat the dungeon, you will get fantastic prizes. So onto the first part, which is going to be constructing the maze. I'm just going to use a command, a fill command, to be able to do that. You can already see I've kind of got an area selected. So let me just type in my command to get that. So the fill command is fill and then your first 3 coordinates and your last 3 coordinates. So this is basically taking corner to corner. So it's a cuboid shape. So this on the left is my bottom, think of it as my bottom left corner. And then the other one is diagonally across and diagonally up, if that makes sense. Anyway, you do this command right here and fill it in with the block of your choice and the state that the block is in. If you're unsure, try 1. And then I'm using, instead of replace, I'm going to use hollow. So this is going to fill, it's going to leave it hollowed on the inside. Be very careful with the fill command and make sure you have your coordinates set correctly, because you could destroy something you didn't want to destroy. I accidentally did that with my house. I fixed it before my wife could see what I had done. Okay. So, make a giant structure. Check. Now, next thing I need to do is I'm going to kind of shape it out on the inside. And just, it's just going to be a pretty rough shape, really. I'm going to add some lava. And we'll get some lava. I already have some lava. Good. So this lava will help me light it up. And the reason I want to light it up is because I don't want monsters spawning in here. I only want monsters to spawn in here that I have basically set up to spawn. I don't want any extras just because it's dark. So I lit that up. It's possible maybe stuff will spawn. I'm not sure if maybe I'll still get phantoms up in the air. So what I'm going to do is use another fill command to fill the ceiling with sea lantern. Sea lantern is usually what I like to do. I put that in the ceiling to give some additional light. And I'm going to do replace. And there's my ceiling. If you're wondering how I did that so fast, I had actually already checked where I needed to put it. I need to do the one above it because I want to cover it so that people don't, if they do get here, they don't break it. Now I could just set up a command block to change people to adventure mode when they get close, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is create a command block to set them to adventure mode once they enter the maze. Sorry. Set them to adventure mode once they enter the dungeon so that they can't place blocks, and I may have materials in there that they could break if they were in survival, so I don't want them to be able to break anything. Okay, so I've got a dungeon and it's decently lit. Just to add some more light. Just get a little more lava. This isn't meant to be super pretty. So, might not be all even looking. Okay, yeah, that's plenty of light. So now what I need to do is kind of plan out how I want this to work. So I need a way to get people into the dungeon. So I'm going to get a command block going that will get us in. So if you don't know what a command block is, I'll try and explain it as best I can. They can be a little confusing at first. So you have to be in creative mode, and you also have to be an operator. Now I think that if you're just playing single player, or just like local single player, multiplayer, that you don't have to worry about being an operator. But this is on my Minecraft server, so you do have to be an operator, and I happen to be an operator. So I can use command blocks, and you can't find them in your blocks in creative mode. You have to use a console command to give it to you. I don't even know if you call that a console command. I was just playing Skyrim, so that's why I got console commands on my mind. So yeah, so you'd use the command to give the person a command block. Okay, so there are a few types of command blocks, just 3 actually. And I'll show you what they do. This first one is an impulse block, and it's orangish, an orangey color, salmon color. So this command blocks, I usually use them when I need something to execute once, and I have it activated by redstone usually. This next one is a chain command, and it is green. You can actually change what block you're using by changing what is checked. The chain is what I would use if I'm chaining a bunch of commands together. Now the command block has an arrow, and the direction it's pointing, the block in front of it will, if it's, so for example, if this one is evaluated, so I have this command block run, and it runs successfully, then that means this next one will go off. If this one fails, then it won't work. So let's say this one is set to spawn a bunny, and I have a button to activate it, and I press the button and it successfully spawns a bunny. Then that means this next block will be able to execute. It'll check its condition, so command input, and see if it can do it. And if that's successful, then the next one goes. If this is false, so say I typed it in wrong, and I tried to summon a bunny, but I spelled something wrong, or I typed something wrong, then that'll be false, and it won't carry on to the next block. So the third type that we have is a repeat, and this is something that's going to be running continuously, and I usually use this to run for a certain amount of time. Or in the case of my dungeons, I usually have several repeats constantly going. They're constantly checking the inside of the dungeon for a player or for certain conditions. And if you'll notice in the bottom right hand corner of my, well, middle right corner, there's no middle corner, I'm dumb. On the middle, on the right, you'll see the victories scoreboard objective that I added. Scoreboards are going to be important. I'll probably have to go over that in the next video. This first one's going to be about getting someone in using the command blocks and just kind of getting it set up. I'm going to create a command to pop me into the dungeon when I step right into this hole right here. So I need to mark this coordinate. Okay, so that's the trigger. So to be able to check if someone's here, I need a repeat command block that's always checking, is there someone there? So let me start it off here. So we're going to make this a repeat. It's going to be unconditional. Conditional would mean that, for example, if I did a chain block, I have to set it to be conditional so that it only executes if the thing before it was true. And that'll make more sense as I put some chain command blocks down. And then I'm going to say always active. It doesn't need redstone. It'll execute on the first tick. I don't need it to delay in ticks. I'll show you later where we may need to delay the ticks before it runs. Or basically it's the ticks that it's running. So the repeat is actually not just always running. Think of it as running multiple times really fast. So if I delayed the ticks, then it runs through the line, and then after that amount of ticks is up, it runs again. But if it's 0, this is just going to run really fast because ticks are pretty quick. Okay, so I'm going to use the test4 command. I have to remember what the syntax is. Test4, and we're going to test for a player. Since I'm just doing the testing phase, I don't want anyone on my server to accidentally stumble upon this and never be able to escape. So I'm just going to have it check for me. But I have to use one of these selectors. We have @A, @E, @P. I'm going to use all players. I'm just going to use, yeah, I'll do all players. Okay, all players, name equals, mine is Zoltesh, and I'll just check that one, and it says found Zoltesh. Okay, so I got that right. So let me copy that over. Paste it on in there. So now it's going to be checking for me, but I actually want it to check for me in a very specific location. And I like to do this. It shouldn't matter what order. They're just going to be separated by commas. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to say the x equals -2334. The y equals 63. And the z axis equals -2398. And then name. So it's checking, is there someone in this location named Zoltesh? It's my Minecraft name. It found Zoltesh. So the reason is it's using this as a reference point, and the range is pretty much unlimited. So I need to actually change the range. Just make it bright again. I would do always day, but if people are on my server, I don't want to just, you know, throw some commands like that that affect everyone. Sometimes I do. Okay, so I want to just do a radius, which is R. I think 0 will work. I'll do 1 just to be safe. Okay. No targets match selector. Now if I go jump in it, then it would match the selector. So I'm going to set another command block to test if it worked. So this is an impulse, so it's only going to run if the thing before it worked. Actually, I'm going to do a chain, sorry. So we'll do a chain. So the chain's going to be set off by the previous block because I'm going to make it conditional. And it's always active, doesn't need redstone. And the hover note, I'm just going to say test. And what I want this to do is, let's see how the message command works. Okay. We'll do a message command. We'll message myself. And we'll say hi. So that means it's going to run this only if this purple block is true. Alright. Here we go. Let's see if it says hi. And it worked. So the command block successfully found me in that hole. And then it said hi. Now I want this to actually teleport me. And I only want it to teleport me if I'm in there. Now, since I'm going to be in there and that's going to trigger this repeat block, I probably don't even need to specify that the location. I could just say just TP Zoltesh. But I'm going to be applying this to other people on my server. So I actually am going to have to use a selector anyway. So I'm going to do the coordinates again. Same one that we got here. If you don't know how to copy in a command block, you hold down Shift and then use the arrow key and just hold that down so it goes over that. So I'll just copy that whole selector. Okay, so TP this player there, and then for the TP command to work, you have to also tell it where to put you, not just
where from. So we'll just TP myself to this location. So teleport me to 2, 3, 4, 3, 6, 4, negative 2, 3, 9, 4. And I'm going to use facing. I have to type in pretty much. I have to do the XYZ again. Okay. It had an error probably because the last time I didn't finish typing out. But anyway, this should work in theory. If I step into this hole, I will be teleported into the dungeon. Hey, and it worked. Okay. So that worked. When you're building your dungeon, I would start out with something easy like a cube like this that's hollowed out on the inside. And find a way to get your players inside the dungeon. So now I've tested a way to get myself in. There are going to be several parts to this. I will have to test certain conditions and make sure that at least for this case, I only want to put one player in at a time. So I have to have a way to check if someone's already in there, and if so, make it so that the other command block doesn't work. So I'll show you how to do stuff like that where we error check and set some more parameters. But for now, we'll call it good, and next time we will get a mob spawned to show how that's going to work. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.